Hello, and welcome to My Left Ear. It is Tuesday, May 31st. My goodness, time flies. And this is video 93. I am Carrie Freeman. This is a left-leaning YouTube channel. I do political commentary and some psychic commentary. I share stories, a little wisdom, and about me, I coach people, I do therapy with people, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, I do hypnosis for therapeutic purposes, and I coach people in creative things. So that's what I do when I'm not making videos. And I call myself a change agent because I help people change. I have a book that I wrote, The Comic's Daughter, and that is in the community section, and it's below if you want to click on that and read about the book and maybe buy the book. It's getting great reviews, by the way. And I have a new Patreon channel, which is also listed in the description section, and I'll put it in my community also. And whatever I talk about is for entertainment purposes only. So let's get started. I really must, I know you've been saturated, probably devastated like myself about the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas. I just decided to go with very intuitive show presentation today because I think anybody who has a beating heart and who cares has been shattered for the people in Uvalde, and we're not over it. I feel like I'm just coming to. I didn't do anything over this 3-day holiday. I was kind of like a sloth, I just had to leave myself alone. That's one of my philosophies, by the way. Leave yourself alone. You have to do that sometimes. So today's show, I'm going to do, by the way, I'm going to do a runes tutorial tomorrow for my Patreon people. And then on Friday, I'm going to do another My Left Ear video. I'm going to start to pick up the pace and do 2 a week. What it's looking like now, it'll be probably Tuesday and Friday. And then every other week, I'll probably do the Patreon presentations. But we'll see. That's where we're getting started. And I'll always put it in the community section so you get the announcement. But I'll see you tomorrow for Patreon. So this is very random. Please forgive me. I did throw the runes on one issue, and that's coming up in a minute. I found out and didn't really know that there are 400 million guns in America. There are more guns, rifles, than people, which is pretty insane. And this idea that we or whomever are coming to take all the guns away from people who love their guns is just bullpucky. And it was started by the gun lobbyists to create more sales out of panic. Panic is very good at manipulating people, fear and panic. So it really came from them because honestly, anybody who's on the left side, the liberal side, and plenty own guns, it's not even on the radar to eradicate guns. We know it's unrealistic. It's making some safety adjustments, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. This is something that isn't really psychic, that I believe has probably crossed all of your minds, but what I sadly, tragically can confirm is that another shooting like this, or even worse, is predictable. It's going to happen. And it probably won't happen, it probably won't take a long time. And I don't know what it's gonna take to move the dial? We're going to talk about that a little bit. Move the dial on some safety. But these shootings, these killings are like a virus, aren't they? I mean, they're like a virus. All right, so I just learned what a red flag law is. And it's so that friends, family, law enforcement can go to a judge and say, we want to take the arms away from our nephew or John Smith because we think he's a danger. It gets approved, and then they take the weapons away from the person. It was because the person is like red flag. There's a red flag. They're going to do something. Now, that's not a law. It's like an idea for a law. And but here's the thing: 84% of citizens want the red flag law. 88% of U.S. citizens want background checks. And I didn't realize, and I feel very naive, that the majority of children's deaths in the United States are from gunfire. Boy, I just hate saying that. I just hate saying this. All right, so I'm reading this now. I'm seeing this. I said it without reading it, but red flag law. It's a gun control law that permits police or family members to petition a state court to order temporary removal of firearms from a person who may be a present danger. There you go. It's a good law. As you probably know or saw, Beto O'Rourke, who's running for governor of Texas and who's going to win, by the way, I've known this for weeks, but now I really know it. He interrupted the presser that Abbott was holding, Governor Abbott was holding. And he didn't scream, he didn't yell, he just came to the front and he said, "This is on you. This is on you." And he was escorted out, and then he talked to a lot of people outside the building. He got, of course, a little bit criticized for doing it, but in terms of winning the campaign, it was a great move, what he did. Maybe he didn't exhibit this passion when he was going up against the most horrible Ted Cruz, but now he's exhibiting the passion. I mean, Beto O'Rourke has a fire lit underneath him, and his position is strengthened. He has grit, he has love, he has empathy, he has outrage, which is none of what Greg Abbott has or his team. And let me just tell you, I'm going to share, these are facts. You're just going to be prepared for your jaw to drop, okay? Greg Abbott put through 22 gun legislation laws. And I have a graphic right here. I'm just going to refer to it right now and read it to you because it's unbelievable. A House bill allows handgun carry without a license. There's another bill, allows guests to store firearms in their hotel rooms, allows possession of silencers, blocks any new federal gun regulations. You like that? Blocks any new federal gun regulations. Oh my God. Allows Texans to carry firearms in a holster of their choice. There's a ban on prohibition of gun sales or transportation during disasters, emergencies. That's a kind of a long one. It means we don't ban gun sales during a disaster or emergencies. This one is not totally clear. And then there's just one more. Prohibits government contracts with businesses to discriminate against the firearm industry. So now we're going to get back to it. It's just like, he just did this. But he took $2 million out of the mental health budget, which he was going, this is about mental health. Well, he just removed $2 billion. So anyway, that's Greg Abbott. He's going to lose. Beto's going to win. I saw a video earlier of a man, maybe 40, who said he was planned to murder anybody who came to retrieve his assault weapons. Lovely, huh? All right, so I did runes. I did one set of runes today. I asked, will there be any gun reform before the midterms? Okay, before the midterms. The runes were kind of a surprise, all right? The first rune I got was wholeness, and this is wholeness. Ooh, there you go, right there. Oh, actually, it's defense. What am I talking about? Wholeness, life, great power, make a lot worse. Okay, no, this is the right one. It has to do with wholeness. It has to do with life force. And the big message with this one is do not withdraw or retreat. It's a time that we must expend a lot of energy, and that's right now. Then the second rune I chose, because they all kind of build, is the rune of constraint. That's what the constraint one looks like, okay? And constraint is about, wait for the whole reading though. Constraint is about necessity and pain. And it's about learning to deal with severe constraints. And my interpretation, my left ear's interpretation is you can't always get what you want. That's the constraint, that this dial is going to move just incrementally on reform. It tells us to examine our shadow side where growth has been stunted, and certainly growth has been stunted in the area of gun safety and reform. And this rune, constraint, the next one's going to surprise you though, is about, it warns of holdups and reconsideration. So all of that I think is about the negotiations. Senator Cornyn, Republican, is supposed to be in heavy duty meetings with Chris Murphy, who's fantastic senator and proponent of gun safety. He's passionate about it. He's wonderful. All right, now this is the surprise rune, and my left ear doesn't quite know what to think about this, but we're just going to go with what I chose, all right? Because I had these and I warmed them up, people. I don't just grab them cold, I warm them up. But I got the rune of partnership. Partnership. It's a gift. So this is very interesting. And I'll tell you what I think in a minute. It's a gift, and it's a gift of freedom, according to the runes. However, it says, do not collapse yourself into the partnership. Because the rune is really just good. And here's what my left ear wants to say. I was surprised. There may be like a very tiny movement in gun safety reform. They might be able to eke out one or two minor, none of it is minor. We have to do what we can do. So maybe it's going to go better before the midterms than my left ear thinks. We'll see. But that partnership is a very positive rune, I got to tell you. So we might get something. Now, the secret of really getting some gun reform, safety reform, as David Hogg would like everybody to call it, safety reform. I think you know who David Hogg is. He's now a college student, brilliant, and he survived the Parkland shooting. And he speaks beautifully. And he said, it's somewhere in my notes here, but he said, both sides have to come together and just figure out one thing that they agree on. He's so intelligent. That's where it begins. I agree with David Hogg. And I just want you to know, you know who I'm talking about, I hope. I call him the turtle. The turtle has a history of blocking any kind of gun safety reform. Good old Kentucky boy. And you know, the Republicans are really out of step now. I mean, it's really obvious. They're saying teachers should be armed. Video games are the problem. Mental health is the problem. Well, it's not like mental health is not the problem, but they can't do what they've done if they can't get the guns. Now, the other thing that's just very ugly and political is that the Republicans generally, I would say 98 to 99%, they don't want to do anything good for the people if it makes the Biden administration look good. They're in a bind. So they're letting precious children get slaughtered by the numbers. I mean, it just keeps happening and happening and happening, rather than let some safety go through. And God forbid Joe Biden looks like a good president. But I'm just telling you, that's the way it is, and I don't think anybody would really disagree with me. So, very briefly, Vladimir Putin, I don't know if you heard, but I really like this. There's a Russian counselor to the United Nations who's in Geneva, and that man has resigned. His name is Boris Bondarev, and he is quoted, listen to what he said, in Russian, of course. Never have I been so ashamed of my country. The UN Watch is calling on all Russian diplomats to follow his moral example. And now, the latest is, Putin wants older men. He wants to force older men to join the military and fight because he's losing young men. Now, nobody really thought about this, but it's not just deaths. He affects the whole ecosystem of Russia in terms of marriage, children, family, and growth. By all these childbearing men, all these men going to war and not coming back. It's very, very serious, and he is very nuts. All right, so I'm getting to the quotes, and like I said, I'll be back tomorrow with a Patreon for you Patreon members, and we'll go further into the runes. And then back on Friday with politics, because I have a lot of notes that I didn't use today. The sessions will be maybe just 5 minutes shorter, but twice a week. So we're going to do quotes. And Voltaire, French writer, historian, philosopher, said, "Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities." So that has, that reminds me of Putin, who lies to the Russian people, and Donald Trump. Donald Trump got all those people to breach the Capitol through his absurdities. So that's a pretty interesting quote, Voltaire. The next is from Sir Edmund Hillary, and he was a mountaineer, explorer, and philanthropist, and I think he was Austrian, I'm not sure. Bear with me, it's a little wordy. He said, concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. So, reminds me of I don't know where, does it come from the Bible? Help those who help themselves. I'm not sure where that comes from. It just reminded me a little bit of that. And then Teddy Roosevelt, former president of the United States. I don't know which number though. I bet one of you knows. I should have looked it up. I love this. This is simplicity. He wrote, do what you can with what you have where you are. It's good, isn't it? Do what you can with what you have where you are, Teddy Roosevelt. All right, just a little bit of good evidence, and this is good evidence, I think, for all of us, that Fannie Willis from Georgia is moving ahead with the grand jury regarding Donald Trump's attempt at voter fraud in Georgia. That's famously on audio where he's trying to get them to send him 11,000 plus votes. She is also investigating Trump for racketeering. And of course, that would involve more than one person. And they didn't say Rico or Little Rico, but I think that's what we're talking about. And I've been waiting for Rico charges to emerge. I mean, it's about time. So, and then just a little piece of personal good evidence that was like really fun. I think before the tragedy in Texas, Elise Stefanik in New York said something brutal and offensive and awful, and I can't remember, and she's not worth it to me to look it up right this minute. She has a short-lived career, I think, in politics. But at any rate, I wrote a tweet that morning that said Elise Stefanik's entire staff should stage a walkout because they were trying to do damage control. And then maybe a little while later, I'm eating breakfast and I turn on The View, and Joy Behar says, yeah, there was a tweet this morning that said, you know, her entire staff. And I went, oh, that's so cool. That was me. So that was fun, right? Okay, so we have to continue to create good evidence and kindness on the street. We just have to. We have to take breaks, and then we have to notice. So I just want to say, I'll see some of you tomorrow, some of you on Friday, and thank you. And we pray, right? I mean, if you pray. If you don't pray, it's okay. I don't even have a religion. My parents were German, Russian Jews. I just never practiced, but I feel very connected to something, an energy. So I use the word prayer, but it's very loose. I just want to send a lot of love to the people that are suffering right now in all over the world, in Ukraine, in Uvalde, Texas, and we continue on. We persevere. Make peace. Make memories. Okay? I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.